Across Newcastle and the Hunter to NURFM 103.7 as we welcome our exercise physiologist Mark Goswell, who also, mate, you're jumping on the bandwagon that everybody else seems to be at the moment. Soccer seems to be the only game in town, and you've figured out that, you know what? Most of us have probably got a soccer ball or access to one in the shed. There is a way that we can actually use those.
Of course,
other than
just juggling and putting it in the back of the net. And I'm not on the bandwagon. I think like my boys have played soccer or football for years, so that's kind of our sport of choice. So we've been following the Matildas forever, and yes, we are getting very excited. But yeah, mate, anything that I've spoken about at donkey's amount of times, that we can use anything around the house for exercise equipment.
Yeah, we did milk bottles a while back there. So.
There's never an excuse because everyone's got a soccer ball or something around, and one of the best exercises you can do is actually to strengthen the glutes, so the gluteus medius and max, which is the buttock muscles. And I'll try to explain it, but it's a little bit conceptual, so I thought we'll put up a little bit of an Instagram page that we can actually start putting the exercises on, that, if anyone's confused, they can watch it. And it's just Mark Goswell EP. So we'll give that a go and see if people can watch it and see what it all means. But essentially what you do is you stand next to a wall. Yeah, very simple.
Yep, we've all got one of those.
Everyone's got a wall, and you get a ball. And you basically put the ball between you and the wall, standing side on. So it's basically on the outside of your knee. Yeah, so you've got...
So that's the height level that we put
so the ball will sit on the outside of the knee. And literally what you do is you just walk towards the wall, keeping your feet parallel. And so you're actually pushing on the outside of the knee against the ball, and it creates a resistance that activates the glute on the other side. So say you got the ball on the outside of your right knee, with your left leg on the out, so away from that. It's getting confusing, isn't it?
No, I'm with this.
And so basically you're between the ball and the wall, and you push that inside knee against the wall, or against the ball, which will then create what we call an isometric contraction and fires up the glute on the outside. So it's basically an isometric contraction that fires up the glutes, and the glutes are one of the most important things in terms of stabilizing the pelvis, which then unloads the back, and it's one of the best exercises I've got for people with any type of lower back or disc injury.
Because essentially there's only so far that you'll be able to walk in, but that'll sort of create that tension that bounces back.
Yeah, so basically the ball creates the tension. So as you're pushing against the ball and assuming that it's pumped up, you basically create that resistance against the ball and the wall. And what that does is makes kind of the outside foot roll out, because it's kind of the ball's pushing you away. So if you ground the big toe 100%, the glutes just fire up. It's an exercise that once you get the technique right, you can't not feel it in the glute. So that's why it's one of the best exercises. And particularly for people with lower back injuries, their glutes will switch off. So their bottom stops working and they become very quad dependent, which is the muscles in the front of the leg. So being able to activate it and get those glutes to work will literally take a lot of the pressure off your lower back, and it's one of our go-to exercises because it literally works every time.
Love the sound of that, and again, it's something that you don't need a heck of a lot of expense behind. Even if you haven't got a soccer ball, you don't need to go out and buy the dearest one.
No, like we send people to the cheap, like the dollar shops, and you get those, the bouncy balls that you get you get your 2 and 3 year olds that they kick around, and it's really light and fluffy, but they're probably better than a soccer ball because they've got a little bit more give in it, so it's a little bit more resistance. But yeah, you go to the dollar shop and that literally costs you nothing, and you have a great time. And there's so much you can do without having to spend $1,500, without having to spend a lot of money. And it's about just using what we've got, but firing up the right muscles, and and that's the key to getting a better control over your body and your life and pain and all that sort of things that we talk about every week.
And there's another item straight out of the shed, straight into your rehab this week. Mark, it's always a pleasure, mate. We'll talk to you next time around.
Yes, hopefully with an Aussie victory.
You've got to get 2 of them.
2 of them. No, that's right. Everyone keeps talking about the final. We've got to win tonight.
We've got to win this one. But there he is, our exercise physiologist, Mark Goswell. If you have whether it's a body part, an injury, or just something general you'd love for him to cover over the next few weeks, he can do that. You just send him an email now at askmark@2nurfm.com.